because they think that somebody's going to pull a gun on them. They're going to do all this other shit.
Right.
So that's the difference between then and now. So again, that's something that you have done back then, which is important to show in a movie that's in the 80s. You know what I mean? So this is what's happening, and the two kids that are on the patio are the bullies, and I had two kids that were in our neighborhood that were bullying me and my brother and pushing us off our bikes. So it's based off of a true events, and my dad went round and round with their grandmother a couple times. And we weren't there because my dad's just like, no, you stay in the house and I'll go talk to him. And the conversation was pretty much went nowhere because they were piece of shit people, white trash. The mom, the grandmother was drunk half the time, and that's what I wanted to convey in the movie. So this is what this is, and like I said, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Your grandson stole my son's bike and punched him.
Your son should be more careful.
Are you kidding me?
Michael! Raymond!
We're right here. What?
You guys know anything about this?
No, I wouldn't do anything like that. I don't even know.
I was in my room watching TV. Who even is this?
How did my son come home with scrapes and bruises all over him?
They said they didn't do it.
Okay, so one of the things as a director that I looked for in actors is, do I believe you? Are you who you're presenting your character to be? Do I believe you? And as an audience member, it's the same thing. We watched two movies yesterday. Charlton Heston. Do I believe that he is the characters that he is portraying on that screen? In both cases, yes.
He was amazing. Yeah.
He was amazing in both of them. I believe that he was those characters. I'm not looking at Charlton Heston. I'm looking at the characters that he played in those movies. Do I believe you? And in this scene, I believe every single one of these characters. Where I believe the dad is going there to figure out what the hell's going on and why his son's being beaten up. The two bullies are just laughing and joking it up and not taking it serious at all. The grandmother's just like, what? Like, what do you want? And they're laughing and teasing behind his back and everything else. I believe that these people are portraying the characters that they were given.
And as a viewer, those little shits made me angry. So, and the one kid, I will say, especially in terms of casting, the kid with the long hair looks like an asshole. So,
So when you watch this scene in the movie, you believe the characters and you're like, this kid's an asshole. That's good. That's what a movie should do. It should evoke an emotion out of somebody. That is what storytelling is about. I don't give a shit about it because it's not an A-list actor. No, this is good storytelling.
Right. Now I want to see that kid get his comeuppance. You know what I mean? I'm like, somebody needs to knock this kid a peg down, down a peg or two.
But like I said, that's my job as a storyteller. My job in casting is doing exactly what it did to you, where it's like, man, this kid's a little shithead.
That's what it did to me.
And the stuff that I love as a director and as a person that enjoys working in the process of acting is the little stuff that most people don't follow. This right here.
You guys know anything about this?
No, I wouldn't do anything like that. I don't even know.
I was in my room watching TV.
Right there. I was in my room watching TV. I don't know who this person is. The actor's doing. She's not sitting there waiting for her line. Like, okay, he said his line. Now I'm going to do it. No. She was basically like motioning, like, see, he was upstairs. He didn't have anything to do with it. It's those little things.
See, that's interesting.
That light me up.
Listening to you say that, now that I'm watching it, I'm like, yeah, she already knew what he was going to say, so she didn't have to wait for him to finish saying it.
She's not waiting for her lines. She's not. She's reacting to what he's saying.
Also, I will say, the minute I saw this woman on screen, I know that the dad was going to get nowhere. Just curlers and a drink, he's fucked. Yeah, forget it. Walk away, dude. Got to go to plan B.
Yeah, so you knew as an audience member that you're not getting anywhere with this lady because she's smoking, she's drinking, she's got the curlers, her grandsons are her grandson and his friend are pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know this going in, but those little things, that's what makes a good actor.
Yeah, to me, this character here, this woman, she doesn't want to deal with anything. And if she admits wrong, then she'd have to deal with it. So she can just deny and not have to deal with it at all and get back to her smoking and drinking, which I can respect.
And there's a lot of beginning actors or people that are cosplaying as actors that don't do little stuff like this. They're waiting for their line, or they memorize the entire script for that day, and you can see them running through somebody else's lines and waiting for their line. Like, no, like
this comment.
Well, I'm sorry, Julia.
No, the comment you just made about cosplaying or LARPing as an actor leads into a note I wanted to ask you real quick. What some people watch movies and they go, they're just reading lines off a page. Anybody could do that. Like, what's the main reason they're wrong about that?
We talked about the other day, yesterday, about acting, about like if you want to be a cowboy, you have to learn how to ride a horse.
Okay.
If you want to be a spaceman, you better do some research in being a spaceman to play a spaceman on TV or the movie. Like, soak in as much information as you can. So it's believable. People believe that you are driving riding that horse. People believe that you are a spaceman. People believe that you are Charles Bronson and you're shooting a guy up there and he's falling down and all that stuff. Like it's doing your homework so that the audience believes that you are that person. Why do you think, like, I was watching a thing the other day about the Mighty Ducks and one of the kids, Joshua Jackson, he was talking about the Mighty Ducks and he went to hockey camp for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the movie. They had sent them to hockey camp. Why? Because it has to be believable that these kids know how to play hockey. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. But when you're in the industry as a young person, or you're new, or you've got a couple years in, you have to take your own ownership of your career and learn things that you want to convey on screen, that you know what you're talking about. You have to be believable. That's the biggest thing for me. If you're on screen, are you believable as that character? Mm-hmm. So obviously she's an experienced actress, so she knows what to do. She's good at improv. You can tell she's good at improv because of the whole, thing that she does, when the kids are talking. Like, you could tell that she has experience on what she does.
Yeah, the word I would use, she has confidence.
Yes.
Which is why she had the confidence to jump that line as opposed to waiting. She knows what she's doing, probably comes from experience, like you're saying.
Exactly. And if I see what you've done on video or on a trailer or on your scissor reel, I know that you have the ability to do that. That's why I do it the way that I do it. You know what I mean? Like as a director, as a writer, I have a character in mind, and then when I see somebody and what they've done and that they can convey an emotion from somebody, that I'm all over it. And that has nothing to do with it being an A-list actor. That has everything to do with somebody being experienced at what they do. And I believe what they do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I guess an A-list actor would bring eyes to the project, I would imagine, but it wouldn't necessarily make the project better.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Just because there's a name attached to it doesn't make the fucking project better. And I think that over the years, and we watch a lot of older movies.
Oh yeah.
Over the years, people have lost that sight. Why do you think that the Avengers have so many freaking stars? Because one person can't carry a fucking movie by themselves. So that's why they have to do an ensemble cast to try to maximize the amount of money that fucking movie brings in. Yeah. I love Robert Downey Jr., but can he do a movie by himself now? Probably not.
No, I wouldn't think so. But yeah, it's like stunt casting. I was watching a video the other day about voice actors, and they were talking about the Mario movie. And this is getting into your comment about name actors.
Yeah,
they cast all these name actors like Seth Rogen to play Donkey Kong or whatever, or Bowser or whatever. And I'm like, they could have just saved some money and hired voice actors. because kids are going to go see the movie because it's Mario. They don't care if it's Chris Pratt. So that's an example to me of I don't think they brought any eyes to the project and didn't make the project better by
Absolutely.
spending money
Yeah.
on actors. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Him being on the project doesn't make it better.
Mm-mm.
You could have got the fucking old the old voiceover guy from the original fucking video games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
whatever. So but so okay, so that's sort of the process with me and the kind of the beginnings of how I approach a movie. Okay.
Mhm.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna remove that, and then we're gonna check another one. Let me delete that just so I don't re-add it. Okay, so then this next one,
Derek, grab your things. We're leaving.
let me rewind it here. Okay, so this scene, and I know you watched the movie, so I'm just talking about it for the audience, basically.
Sure.
And this scene is Larry has to go to his work because he's having problems with the union, and they're threatening to strike, and they're threatening to shut the doors, which actually happened when I was a little kid. And I think it happened, I want to say maybe 6 months my dad was out of work, and then they finally went back to the table, and Teamsters and the company renegotiated, and everything was fine. But it happened during a time where my dad didn't necessarily need the stress because he had a child that was sick.
Sure.
So I Hollywoodized it a bit because I have to dramatize it. And you know, even though this was a 6-month part, and I was sick for 8 years or 9 years, so in the screenplay, I have to Hollywoodize it a little bit,
Mhm.
and make it a little bit more bigger than that it is. But even though it was a big deal back then, you know what I mean. My dad was out of work for a short period of time. My mom was working for Wendy's, and she was working part-time at Wendy's. Like, people don't gotta understand is my parents were mid-20s when they have when they have a child that's dying of cancer. My parents were young.
Yep.
So I wanted to convey that in the story and the characters is Ellie's in her 20s, Morgan's in his 20s, and I thought they did a great job where they made it a big deal with their emotions. And Morgan's not quite there with being able to cry on screen and everything. So he's still working on that, but I still think he did a great job. I think I did a fantastic job.
Ellie, who I'm assuming this is the actress you're talking about that played your mom, was excellent.
Yeah, she's
I
a
thought she was
star.
very, very good.
Yeah, there's no reason that she shouldn't be booking shit all the time. She's a star.
Good look too.
Yeah, she's got the look. She knows, like, there's a couple parts there's a scene in the movie where she's at a candy store just walking around, and a friend comes up. And how Ellie turns, where she turns toward the camera, and then when the friend walks away, how she turns away from the camera. She did that naturally. I didn't tell her to do that. She knew to do that because she's a good actor. She recognizes where to be on screen, where the light hits her, all that stuff. That's important. I worked with Tom Sizemore on a movie. I think I was a coordinator on it, and Tom Sizemore came for like a day and did a bit part for the director of the movie. He was friends with her. And Tom Sizemore came in there, and it was like, he's standing there and he's doing his thing. And he's like, "Hey, can you move that light just a little bit over there?" He's like, "I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to walk over here." And they're like, "Okay." So they moved everything. And then they did a read through and everything else. But he knew right away, like, "Hey, can you move that light just a little bit? Because I'm going to go right here." And they moved the light. Director said, "Let's go." And bam. Like he was aware of, like, what his place in the movie is, and where the light was hitting him, and what he was going to do as far as his motions that might have not been in the screenplay. They might have not said, "Hey, Tom Sizemore walks in here and he goes to the left and he does the shimmy shakes and all this other stuff." That may have not been in the script. You see what I'm saying? But he was self-aware as an actor that was a working actor for a very long time. And I think he's passed now. Tom Sizemore, pretty sure he's passed.
Yeah.
He was self-aware of what his role is, and as an actor, what he brings to the project. And that's how you have to be. So
I would
okay,
imagine the director would appreciate that.
oh yeah, that he can explain what he's going to do to the director, and the director can make a decision. Hey, I need you to do this, that, or the other thing. But he at least was courteousy enough to say, "Hey, this is what I was thinking," because he was only there for one day. It wasn't like he was there the entire time. So it's not like he might have been in rehearsals for a little bit, but it was just like a one day, one day, and he was out type thing. You know what I mean? So okay, so this scene right here is she got bad news. Larry is out dealing with work stuff, trying to keep his job, and she's given bad news. And how I wanted to do it as the director is I wanted to have it all one shot, and we couldn't do it all one shot, so we had to break it up a little bit. So we had one shot going on the outside of the door with the two actors. Then I had another. Then we did a camera that was on the inside when she opens the door. And then we have another shot where it's from behind her, following her. That way you can get the reaction of Cindy, the reaction of Derek, and then it goes and pans a little bit to the right where you can get the reaction of the nurse saying, Mrs. Mullins, calm down. So we rehearsed all this stuff on set because I was like, okay, I want to do it all in one shot. We couldn't do everything in one shot, so we kind of broke it up a little bit. But this is basically what happened once we kind of got what we liked and what we didn't like figured out in rehearsal.
Derek, grab your things. We're leaving.
Mrs. Mullen, you have to calm down, please. You're not making it any easier for your son, please.
Mom, I'm scared. You told me to lay down. Now we're leaving.
So there's another shot that comes in. And that follows that up where the doctor comes in and stuff like that. So, but it's kind of the same thing as, we had pre-production. I had a rehearsal with all the actors except for one or two that didn't show up. So we had an idea of like in rehearsal, and we did a read through for the script. That way that anybody that had questions about it could ask any questions that they had. So every time I see these videos that are like, well, the director took it in a direction that I didn't like, and the character, why did he do that with the character when they should have did this with the character, or why did they cast a person that's white and they should have been a black person, and like all this other stuff, like that's all handled in pre-production. That shit before you show up on set.
Yeah, when I see actors do that after the movie's already been out, kind of bad mouthing it, then they're going into business for themselves, which is wrong.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they're assholes. They're
you took the money.
Yeah, yeah. The check cleared at the fucking bank. So all this politics or whatever the fuck these people do, like why? You already knew that going in. Like Richard Zegler, and we played a clip a few weeks ago about it, where she was talking about like every time I step out as a Disney princess, I should be paid for every little thing and all this other shit. And it's like you knew that ahead of time, and now you want to run your fucking mouth. That irritates the shit out of me. So it's like, yes, I don't have an A-list actor that's on my fucking movie, but the actors that I had on set were fucking amazing.
Yeah, and at least you don't have to deal with A-list bullshit that comes with some of the A-list actors, it seems like.
Yeah, and I think some of it's manufactured, and some of it there's some. I never got to work with like the superstars, but I worked with a lot of working actors that seem like they're in everything. They just don't have the name recognition. You know what I mean?
Oh, one of those. Hey, I know that face guy.
Yeah. And it's like a lot of those people were fucking cool as shit. A lot of them were. Some of them were dickheads, but a lot of them were super cool because they understood that they're not the top echelon of people, but they made a good career for themselves. Yeah. They're happy with what their arc of their career is. You know what I mean?
That seems like a comfy position to be in, making a living doing what you like acting for these people, but being able to go out in public and not worry about getting harassed all the time.
Absolutely. So I never, there was only a couple actors that were kind of douchebaggy, but for the most part, they were nice. You know what I mean? Like Jean-Claude Van Damme, he said hi to everybody, but then, I heard from the second that he was doing blow in his trailer.
I would have been disappointed if he wasn't. I expect that out of Jean-Claude.
It's kind of ruined my childhood. Thank you. Jean-Claude. Thank you. So yeah, so that's sort of the process. With that scene is it was rehearsed before we started shooting it, but we had a read through, so everybody had an idea of what their character was. And the one that played the doctor, the only notes that I ever had for him is I need you to be a little bit more authoritative, because he was playing the character like at first. When we were doing read throughs, he was doing it a little bit too nice. And it's like, no, I need you to be like authoritative. You're not a dick, but I want you to be like, like this is what it is.
Mhm.
Your child is going to die if we don't do anything.
Mhm.
He came across a little bit too nice, but other than that, he freaking nailed it. And
I
I
think
have,
it's fine.
and I thought I had a scene pulled up, maybe I don't, where he messed up his line and he went like this, and he was like, "Dang it!" Like he knew he messed up because he's a perfectionist. And in the art of acting, you should be cognizant of your craft. That's what you do. And he got a little upset at himself when he didn't quite nail it, which as a director, I appreciate that stuff.
Let me ask you a question.
He's taking his role and his job seriously. You know what I mean?
Does that situation ever happen in reverse as a director? Are there times where you'll shoot a scene and at the end you're like, "Fuck, I fucked up. Sorry, you gotta do it again." I mean, is that
Maybe a camera angle or a battery goes out on a camera, or all of a sudden a light turns off. A lot of stuff like that will happen.
Mhm.
But we'd already did 2 read-throughs, and then we always do a rehearsal before we start rolling. That way everybody knows where they're standing and everything.
so you'd have worked it out by the
That's
time
correct.
you?
So,
Okay.
so we've already worked it out. So the actors have a pretty good idea of what their character is before we even started shooting.
Okay.
And then as far as the placement, sometimes you have to make adjustments based off of the location that you're at. So it's like you can have it in your mind, like, okay, I want to have a 2-shot where they're standing here, and then I want a camera here, and I want a camera here, and then over here, and I want to do this. But then you get on location, the location sometimes doesn't give you exactly what you want.
Mhm.
So you have to improvise a little bit. You have to be cognizant and say, okay, I have it this way in my head, but we're gonna have to tweak it just a little bit because the location's not giving us what we want.
Mhm.
And there was 1 or 2 times that I had, I was B camera and Aaron was A camera, and the shot that I had wasn't as good as his shot, and I kind of knew that. But it's like, well, I'm just gonna roll, and if something cool comes out of it, then I'll just roll and I'll get something cool. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So stuff like that happened. But as far as like things working and not working, that's handled in pre-production, and it's also handled during when you're doing the run through before you start shooting the scene.
Okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
So okay, so let me get rid of this one, just so I don't accidentally open it up. Okay, so this one is a restaurant scene, and when I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and this is probably why I don't have no fucks to give as an adult, because of shit like this, where this literally happened, where we went to a restaurant and people were staring at me because I had big stuff on my face.
Mhm.
Bruises and stuff, because that's what leukemia is. It's a cancer of the blood, so you bruise pretty easily. And we overdid the makeup a little bit on his face because I wanted it to show up on camera, because if she did it too light, you wouldn't be able to see it. So I wanted to exaggerate it a little bit so that the camera would pick it up.
Okay.
So there's no other scenes where it's that bad, but I kind of had to do it because I have to show where he's bruised, so that that's why people are staring at him.
Yeah, it's better to overdo it just a tad as opposed to underdoing it to the point that nobody gets it.
That's correct.
Watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nobody's deadpanned me on it or anything like that. So, nobody's ever said anything like that. But that's why I did it, is because I had to over exaggerate it because it has to show up on camera. So there's stuff like that where you have to there's a give and take,
When I watched this scene that I'm assuming you're going to show,
Yeah.
my feeling while watching it was feeling bad for the parents. Like, oh God, what's everybody thinking? Clearly it goes to the other patrons think they beat the kid up or whatever. And so That
Yeah,
was
so
mine.
this actually happened where we got a bunch of stairs and everything else.
Mhm.
And the couple, when they walk in the door there, the couple that's sitting there staring, that's Griffin's parents.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably said, "Hey, while you're sitting around doing nothing, why don't you?"
I was like, "Hey, you guys want to be extras? Just stare at him like he's a weirdo." Like, okay, we do that all the time anyway.
Comes naturally, right?
It's natural. It's natural. So okay, so let me add
How was
this,
school, bud?
and it always likes to start like right when I pull it up. Okay,
How was school, bud?
You don't want to talk about it.
You're gonna have to figure something out. You gotta go to school. Everyone is staring at us.
It'll be fine.
Hey, Cindy, free today?
Yeah.
Can I have french fries?
No, because remember your medication.
Dang it. It's not fair. I just want french fries.
I know, I just find something else, okay?
But there isn't anything else.
Derek, listen to your mother.
Do I have to hit you again? I mean,
I just want french
Your mother.
fries.
Derek, that's enough. Really? I amuse you? My family amuses you.
Is everything okay?
No, it's not. Okay, I have busybodies listening to my conversations. They think we hit our son.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's okay, Cindy. I'll go talk to the manager.
It's fine, we're leaving. Come on, get up. Ma'am, we're gonna go home, just in case you care. Dear Diary, today everyone stared at Derek, wondering if we beat him or if we feed him. I hate all of them. I love.
but yeah, so that's it. So I love this scene. This is such a good scene where there's so many moving parts to it, where you have your background actors,
Mhm.
you have the people that are staring at him, and Ellie's reacting to people that are staring, and she sees them staring. It's absolutely great. It's one of my favorite.
so
And even though Morgan and Griffin don't have too many lines, this scene is more about Cindy and being not fed up, but kind of fed up,
Mhm.
where she's lashing out at stuff that she can't control. So that's why
Yeah.
I absolutely love this. And it the actors did absolutely, and Ellie did such a fantastic job reacting to the people that are looking at her.
So I have
Because
an artistic
I'm sorry.
question about this
Yeah.
scene. So I'm pointing at the screen, like you can see what I'm pointing at, but the two people staring at them are staring at them, but not everybody's staring at them. Do you, as a director, go in and say, "All right, you, and you are going to look and stare at them, but you guys just read the menu and
Yes.
okay, okay."
So I walked up to him and said, "Okay, hey, do you want a close up? Because I want to have you guys staring at him and making it obvious that you're staring at him,
Mhm.
and then Cindy is going to react to you." Most of the people in this scene are most of Griffin's family, cousins
Oh.
and uncles and parents and all kinds of stuff. Okay,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So they showed up for us on that day because I talked to his mom and she's like, "Well, I have a bunch of relatives that would love to be in it," and I said, "Okay, we're going to have them in a restaurant and they're going to stare at Derek." I mean, that's pretty much what they're going to do. And I was like, I'm not going to have them, reciting lines and like, all this shit because they're not trained actors. But it's like I want you guys just to make it uncomfortable. That's the whole part of the scene. And they all did fantastic.
Yeah.
They did all great. So yeah, this is just like I said, this is another example of knowing the flow of the scene, the actors understanding their characters and understanding that that people are staring at them and the reactions that you would do if somebody in real life was staring at you. Is it believable? And it is. It's completely believable. A little kid's wanting to eat French fries and can't have salt because of all the medication, which actually happened. I couldn't have anything that had salt in it because salt thins your blood, and I had already thinned my blood enough where they're working on my leukemia. I would have died if I had salt.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, that was a thing where it was like all this stuff was happened in my life at some point, and I believe the characters. I believe that these people and that little kid are parents and son.
Yeah. Well, she has a very motherly way about her. I don't know if that's because of her acting, just because of her.
Yeah,
But she looks like a mom.
She's from the Midwest, and I don't think she has kids, but yeah, she definitely has a mom quality about her.
Mm-hmm.
But as a person that's watching, as you guys are watching it, like, what did you think about this scene? Was it believable?
Yeah, I thought it was very believable because listen, I've got kids. I've been in situations where my kid maybe as a baby was screaming in a restaurant because they do that sometimes.
Acting up and stuff?
Yeah, and you just as a parent, you're like, ugh. You kind of people start looking at you and you start to feel a little odd. Now, different situation, they didn't have bruises on their face, but
Yeah.
like I said, I kind of sympathize with the parents during this scene, thinking about how awkward it must have felt for them. And her decision just to say, screw it, we're out of here. As opposed to being stoic and ignoring it.
Yeah, that's great. And as a creator, as a writer, as a director, that's what I want. I want you to feel some sort of way about the scene.
I took it like the mom just is sapped of strength and doesn't even have the strength to sit there and deal with it. She's like, you know what? I don't have any energy to deal with
like the fuck's given or done. Like
she's like, we're just leaving.
Yeah, like we're leaving. We're out of here. Mm-hmm. And the girl that played the girl that played the waitress, she played it off perfectly too. Her reactions was just like, I'm so sorry, Cindy. I'm so sorry. Let me get the manager. And then, the look that she gives when Cindy walks by her was just gold. Again, I prefer somebody that's good at their craft versus somebody that is got a name and is not good at their craft or has special attention because they have a name and they're not good at what they do or they're average. There's a lot of people out there, in my opinion, that are average actors that are superstars or have a name. They're average.
So if an A-lister had become involved in your project, do you think that could have wound up in a situation where the relationship was more the actor going, well, you need me more than I need you?
I think so.
Yeah. Whereas like this lady, Ellie, clearly is taking this seriously. Like she's doing her job.
Yeah.
As opposed to if an A-lister would go, well, it might have been a bad take, but that's what you're getting. What are you?
If I got one A-lister and a bunch of people that were theater actors or they did improv or something like that, that one A-list actor is going to think that you need me more than I need you.
Now, would that affect the other actors too? Because the
morality.
Like they'd be, oh shit, this guy's here. I better. They're playing to him more than they'd be playing for you. I guess
maybe. It's possible. I mean, it's possible. But it depends. I mean, if it's a B-list actor or something versus like if Tom Cruise showed up for a day, you know what I mean?
Well, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool. But I'm just saying is like I can only assume. I don't know, but I choose people because they're good at their craft, not because they've got a name. Even though it'd be nice to have a person that has a name on there that would sell more units. But I'm sorry, I don't compromise. I don't compromise my art to satisfy a quota that's not going to do anything but not make my movie better. Because that's what I want to do. I want my movie to be the best it can be. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Anybody in any creative process, whether it be art, music, movies, want their product to be the best.
And it's probably selfish. I'm not going to say that I'm not selfish when it comes to shit like that.
That's not selfish. That's not being selfish. That's being creative. It's like when I write a song, like, well, this is my song. So here's how it's going to go. Here's the guitars go here. The keyboards go here.
Yeah.
You have to be, I guess some people would see that as selfish, but I don't. It's about trying to get the vision that's in your mind out into reality.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And the one thing that actors are supposed to do that my actors decide not to do is promote. That's part of your job as an actor.
That's unfortunate.
It's to promote the movies that you're in. I don't understand why people think that they have to have their hand out to promote. You're in the fucking movie. You're carrying the movie. I don't understand that aspect of the actors. That's
as an actor
that I don't understand.
As an actor, wouldn't you want people to watch you act?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think I've told you my first wife was theater school,
Yeah.
did carpentry and stuff.
Okay.
So I hung out around a lot of theater kids, and believe me, my takeaway was all they want is people looking at them all the time. So you would
That's
think
true.
that professional actors would be the same way. Like, hey, come see my movie. You know, I'm a lead in it.
Which
Like,
has
it's not-
not happened because I look at the fucking numbers. I look at them. I know who's promoting, who's not. Like Griffin and his family has been promoting the shit out of this movie. Some
I
of the
like that they got involved.
Yeah, some of
They
the other
offered to help.
actors, not so much. And it's like you can't go on a podcast. You can't. I mean, that's part of your job as an actor is to promote it.
Would have been nice to have her on this show, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, or something.
I'm gonna ask a couple of the actors and see if they can come on. Definitely, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Get the actor's perspective.
Yeah, it'd be great. But yeah, that's one thing that I don't know if it's an actor's feeling in general, or if it's an indie actor where they don't feel that promoting is part of their job.
Well,
'Cause
okay,
like
so
a
let me
professional actor, like a major movie, it's in their contract that you have to promote.
play devil's advocate here, and you can, of course, tell me how I'm wrong. But if you're an indie actor, you're probably not making a living off of acting, so they've got, I would imagine, full-time jobs to deal with. So maybe that's part of the problem. Is time, maybe.
True. I mean, I have a full-time job and I find a way to do it.
Yep.
But you're right. I think it's definitely that. And some of them probably have families, which could be that also, you know. But you can at least take 15 minutes out of your day to throw up on Instagram or promote the shit out of it. Go on a podcast every once in a while.
That's
Like
true.
that's the part that I still haven't figured out when it comes to acting. That is part of your job, and a lot of actors don't like doing it. I want to blast this shit out to the fucking world because I think it's a great movie. It's a great story. People can relate to it. It's not like I'm writing a horror movie about a little kid that kills his family or something like that.
Right.
Like most people in society in the world have family members that get sick, either cancer or heart disease or lupus or whatever it is. Everybody has that person that they know that gets sick and how it affects their family. And that's what this movie's about.
Or even if you don't have that experience yourself, you generally know some. Like one of my closest friends, him and his wife have a child who's 7 years old who has never gotten up or lifted his head. He has hydrocephalus, so he's just on a mat all day, can't talk, nothing. And so I see what it. Yeah. I didn't mean to drag the show down, but I'm just saying.
No, but yeah,
I don't get it personally, but I've seen
how he is and how it affects his family.
Sure.
That's interesting to me, and
And
telling the
even-
story is interesting. You know.
Yeah, even my role as his friend for decades, like just kind of being there and trying to stay, positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, anyways.
But yeah, so yeah, that's sort of like the going into the weeds a little bit when it comes to the lawyer and my process and how I look at things. And people call me a movie snob, and yes, I am, because there's certain things that I enjoy.
Right.
There's certain ways that actors handle themselves in a scene, or are they believable, or are they just somebody that's on screen reading lines?